Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Did you know that 25% of people living in South Africa do not have access to internet? We all know that internet is a right. The government actually made it a right. You need internet for your studies, for your research, and all those things that we do and love on the internet. We find that the most reason why we have such in South Africa, it is because most of these places are either too far or too expensive for fiber companies to deploy, or you also they have some issues such as the terrain and things like also business cases such as what is the likely uptake and things like that. So you find that these areas end up being neglected, but the government has done a number of projects that they've done to try and make sure that they try to reduce the gap. If I'm not mistaken, by 2025 the government wants to make sure that we have 80% penetration when it comes to internet. There's projects that the government are funding, such as the Gauteng broadband. Can't remember the name for it, but the Gauteng government is doing quite a lot. So, but this is where wireless internet service providers come into play, especially because to deploy a wireless network, it is not that expensive and it does not really affected by terrain. You can get around it. It is not too expensive compared to fiber. And for that reason, I'm going to show you guys what a typical or one of the most component or most important component of a wireless network or a wireless internet service provider has, which is a base station. I'm going to show you guys a wireless base station, what it typically looks like. Of course, you're going to see bigger towers as you start walking around. You're going to see massive towers, but I want you guys to start paying attention to smaller towers, because a lot of small to medium ISPs, they are deploying these rapid towers where they deploy in a couple of hours and it's working. Okay, so those are some of the ways that we are trying to ensure that we alleviate the pressure, and we also ensure that the penetration is much higher than what it is now. So I'll see you guys in the next video. How's it going, guys? I hope you guys are doing all right. And today I'm not wearing the training beats hat, I'm wearing Beatworks set. So basically this Beatworks is our wireless internet service provider. We sell internet over wireless signals. I guess this is one of the advantages of being trained by us. We're not just theoretical guys, we are heavily hands-on. Behind me, you guys can see the tower. I'll show you guys up close what it looks like. But this is pretty much what you see, guys, with all ISPs that sells internet over wireless. Of course, some will go on towers, but pretty much the tech is exactly the same. But we have two categories. I just have to mention this. It's very important. We have two wireless types of wireless providers. Okay, you've got providers that owns their own frequencies. These providers are the likes of Vodacom, MTN, the big guys. They pay a lot of money for the wireless frequencies that they use, and they apply for those licenses from ICASA. So ICASA is a regulatory telecommunications company that manages pretty much everything that has to do with telecommunications in South Africa, and that's where you get your licenses. There's a lot of things that they do. Okay, for now, have your own ISP, you register with ICASA. Okay, now a wireless internet service provider like us in ourselves, we use what we call unlicensed frequencies. So what are unlicensed frequencies? Unlicensed frequencies are frequencies that pretty much everybody uses. Okay, anyone can use those frequencies for their own use. Now, what is the disadvantages of that? So the disadvantages of that is that because everybody uses those frequencies, you might have issues with interference. Okay, you might start interfering with each other. But there are few things that you can do. Okay, some of those things that we do in our company is that we ensure that all our customers are very, very close. So we make sure that the distance between our point of presence, okay, so basically a point of presence is a place where a telecommunication company put up their equipment. Okay, so if I want to service this area that I'm in, I go find a place, a safe place where I can put my equipment to service those people in that area. So pretty much every ISP does that. Whether they are going to be running on fiber or they are going to be running on wireless, the concept is still the same. You still need to go to a place that is closer where you can service your customers. Okay. Another thing that we do is that we also ensure that our backhaul are 60 gigahertz or fiber. So what is a backhaul? I'm throwing in new terms here. I do have a course called ISP Nuts and Bolts where I teach all these things. I also have another course where I teach people that wants to start their own internet service providers. I do that course once in a year, by the way. Don't, yeah, I'll let you know when I do that. But basically, a backhaul is the link that transmits data from the point of presence that you are at to your or towards your internet, your main internet connection. So from this case, I do have a 60 gigahertz. I don't have a fiber line coming to this place. I have another tower that is about 6 kilometers away, and I have a 60 gigahertz link that is going to be connecting my customers from this tower, routing them to that tower, and they'll break out to the internet. Okay, so that's pretty much, to summarize, pretty much how this works. So I'm gonna go closer and I'll show you guys kind of what it looks like closer. So just to get closer, so if you see, let's see here, so that dish, that round dish that you see at the bottom, that is the backhaul. It's a 60 gigahertz dish, and on top there I've got what we call sectors or access points. So an access point is going to be broadcasting signal towards a particular coverage. So I've got 90-degree sectors and I've got 220-degree sectors. We call it this a mini base. The best design is that you want to have a sector that is narrow, because a sector that is narrow will be able to transmit your signal much further, and also it will be able to mitigate some of the interference. So ideally, the best ways to set up this is to have 30-degree sectors or 45-degree sectors. It means your signal is going to be sent in a 45 degrees. But what it means is that you need many of them for coverage, and they're pricey. So normally what we do is that when we're setting out, we use, much broader sectors, 90 degrees, 120 degrees. But as you get more customers, then you will need to transition to either 30 degrees or 45 degrees. I'm going to show you guys again closer, but this is what a typical base station looks like, a wireless internet service provider. And another thing that I forgot to say is that you often find that some providers prefer to mount their equipment on towers. Okay, I guess to use towers again is much safer and you can go much higher. In our case, we stay away from towers because towers, you either have to build your own tower or you have to co-locate. So what is co-location? Co-location is when a service provider rents space on somebody else's infrastructure or a tower. So let's say MTN has a tower. Vodacom, instead of them putting their own tower, they can go to MTN and rent space and put their own equipment on Vodacom's tower. It's possible. That's what they do all the time. This works nicely if everybody has their own frequencies. Now, in our case, where we don't have that, you're going to run into a problem that when you have too many service providers on the same tower, you start interfering with each other, then the whole experience of the customer will start to be affected. And we don't want that. This is the reason why we never go on towers. We ensure that we stay on our own. We find a high site and we do our stuff. We don't co-locate, we don't do that. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys closely And again, an advantage, I guess, of running a wireless WISP is what you call it, is that we have what you call rapid deployment. Okay, um, it took us. It's gonna take us 8 hours to bring up this tower. We started around what, 10 o'clock in the morning. I think it's about 1 o'clock now. By what, 5 will be done with the tower. It takes us 8 hours to build the tower from start to finish. Again, if you compare with fiber, longer periods of deployment, they have to go through wayleaves, there's a lot of application, there's a lot of things that is needed to get a fiber network working. And also, I mean, the WISP is much, much cheaper. Of course, we cannot provide, much more bandwidth compared to what your fiber operators can provide. But there is always a place for every type of network, you understand? So, in a high density area, you want to go fiber. The less densely populated, you might want to go wireless. If the requirements of your customers are not a lot of bandwidth, like in my case, we do internet in townships, people are happy with the 25 meg line, they're more than happy with that. So, I mean, every solution will depend. There are places where we're going to end up deploying fiber, and there are places where we will be deploying wireless. I'm going to show you guys down, and you're going to see what the boxes looks like. All right, so as you can see, we've got two boxes. One of the boxes is for power, and the other one has the telecommunications equipment. I've got a 2.4 kVA inverter, which has also solar panels. So if my electricity is gone for extended periods of time, my solar panel can charge the batteries. I've got two 150 watts solar panels that are connected to the inverter, which means if I have 2.4, I can charge my batteries in 6 hours or so, somewhere there. And it works well. And before you start commenting, I know what you're going to ask. Why are you using boxes? There's no ventilation and all that. I have many of these guys, they do work. This is where you usually start to reduce the cost. They work just fine. I've got a ton of these sites like this, and they're working just fine. They've been running for years. Oh, not for years, for more than 6 months. So it's quite decent, decent stuff going on here. And also, when you start growing the mini bears to an aggregation point, now you can actually put your outdoor 12U cabinet. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed this whole video. If you have enjoyed this and you want to know more about our trainings, you can contact me at nyasha@trainingbiz.co.za. You can actually scan that QR code. It has all my information, our website, and things like that. We do consulting for companies, the ISPs. We provide custom training. I do provide Cisco courses, Microtic courses, Juniper courses, Huawei. I'm not certified for Huawei and Juniper. I'm certified for Cisco and Microtic, but we do train Juniper and Microtic. But I'm working on the actual certifications. But in any case, what you want is the training, isn't it? So if you wanna do any of this training that I've just mentioned, or any custom training that you want in the space of networking and security, you can contact us for more information. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. Thanks you guys for watching, and please, if you like this, subscribe and follow for more videos. Cheers guys, have a good